Hello, 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 everybody. This is the Sky Priestess, as you know. Now, I have to make this video because some people are really just not getting the message. I've been writing about the way the work is changing. I also mentioned it during the solstice post, if you remember correctly. And the recent shift in the focus of my work has already been flag posted for a while now. So, the level of cognitive dissonance that I'm seeing in the community is kind of surprising to me. Well, I suppose it shouldn't be that surprising because cognitive dissonance is what it is. So, let me spell it out for everybody so that there is no further confusion. When I began this journey, it was not so that I could become a multi-millionaire person to go and make a lot of money or whatever, whatever. I was not into astrology. Astrology literally downloaded itself into my head one day. I mean, I was interested in it, but not in any real professional sense. Like maybe I would look up Astrology Zone to just look at stuff once a month and go, oh, okay. And so when astrology entered my life, it was really a spiritual calling. And I was hesitant to make it my bread and butter because I had gotten a PhD in political science. This had nothing to do with it. But Spirit gave me all the clues and all the signs to follow this path and to keep following it until it was time to do something else. And a lot of you did follow me in that time. A lot of you liked the way that I interpreted astrology. A lot of you found it unique because I'm not a traditional astrologer. My understanding of the skies comes straight from spirit. And when I speak to someone, it stirs them in a way that goes beyond the domain of astrology. So effectively, and that was why my brother is the one who actually gave me the Sky Priestess, the title. And I didn't know, before I was like, what do I call myself? And he's a very gifted being. He just said the Sky Priestess, and it stuck because that was literally what I was doing. I was working psychically and spiritually to facilitate transformations in people using astrology as a roadmap. And to the best of my ability, I have tried to help people understand that what I'm doing here is not a study of the stars or necessarily a study of the skies. It's very much a shifting of energy. That's what I do. So when I speak to someone, even if it's for a very short time, it actually helps them uncover patterns that they've been having for 20, 30, 40 years of their lives. And it's not the astrology that's fixing it, it's whatever spiritual practice and alignment that I have that is moving through me to do it. So I want to make this very, very clear. And I'm not saying this to big me up or nonsense like that. It is to be very clear about where my position on all of this is. So as you can see me especially when I'm doing my lives or my articles, and you can see how much more of my work is focused on social justice, that has really created a lot of discontent and unhappiness in the minds of some people who have followed me. One woman wrote, and she was quite, she was like, well, everything you write these days is negative, everything that you do is white bashing, and I'm cringe to look at your posts. And I'm just like, well, you followed me for years and you don't understand why I'm doing this? When we look at the astrology of the skies right now, we see that this is a time where each of us must stand in our truth. I have always taken this as a spiritual calling, obviously one which I need to, I need to pay my bills with, but it was never meant to be one of those global money makers. But effectively, what I have always been doing is to follow Spirit's guidance in every step and chapter of my very strange life. And that's what I'm being called to do now, to use the platform that I have created with your help over years to raise the issues that can only be effectively addressed by a celestial knowledge with a practical understanding of social justice and the perspective of an academic political scientist. And that's what I'm doing. The woman went, I don't know you anymore. Words to that effect. And I just went, well, this is actually me. So, I realize that sometimes it's harder to, connect the dots when you see it written down as opposed to when I'm speaking. And this is me saying it out loud so people cannot be saying, but. But this is the work. There is utterly no point of us talking about the skies and planets and this ascension and that activation when human beings are not doing all they can to be kind to the human being right next to them. And unfortunately, the system that we have evolved over the past several thousand years is one that is disproportionately unjust to whether it's women, whether it's people of color, whether it's trans people. There is a privilege built into the system that the people who actually benefit from it are completely blind to. And so that is why these issues are so important to speak about. If, and I will say this at the risk of pissing off other astrologers, if you are not talking about this, why are you even looking at the stars? Unfortunately, astrology and any and all forms of spiritual practice have been co opted by not only pop culture spirituality, but equally a deeply worrying narcissistic trend I see in society, and all of us have. Tell me more about me. I want to ascend to this. I want to do this. I want to be multidimensional. That's not what the planet needs. It is of less interest for me to tell you about your chart, and what truly interests me is to show you how your chart allows you to engage in a world that makes it a better place for everybody. That is what the world needs right now. That is what any spirit worker who is true to their name should be focusing on. And unfortunately, for a lot of white people, that means becoming aware of white privilege. Now, all I have to do is to say that white people have privilege, and then they all act, well, not all of them, but the ones who are bugging me, they act as though I've just killed them. But that's not true. Note that I do not use pejorative language. I do not insult someone by calling them Nazi scum. I do not call them the descendants of colonizers and rapists. I simply say that white people need to be a lot more aware of what they bring to a situation. And without unpacking that baggage, we cannot actually call ourselves spiritually awakened beings. And that is enough to trigger. Now, even hearing my voice, even hearing my words, you're going to find people who project on me as though I'm spewing venom at them, as though I'm attacking them, as though I'm racist, as though I'm arrogant, as though I'm a supremacist or entitled. And honestly, I can tell you, to the majority of white people, I really do not hate you. I really do not hate you. I do not have any anger towards most of you. But I want you to remember something very clearly that comes from global history. Nazi Germany was not full of Nazis. It was full of people who did not resist or could not resist because they missed the boat to resist and they had to comply. Whether or not we want to accept it, unless human beings are willing to stand up and do what is needed, we're going to be living in that reality before we realize it. That is what every astrologer worth their salt should already be seeing as the writing on the wall. So if you want astrology that comforts you, that makes you immune to the world around you, look elsewhere because you will not find it here. Whilst this is actually, this is not an easy thing for me to do because this has a direct impact on my own livelihood. This is not something that is a fashion statement or a vanity statement because it actually has a real impact as to who and how many people are drawn to me. I mean, literally, this one of the people who was writing to me was going, well, I was saving up for a reading, but now, and it's okay. It is honestly okay if you feel that when I look at you and I look at your soul and I will see that you have not been doing your work in contesting your privilege, if that is what scares you, then you should not be coming to a reading with me in the first place. So that is what I would like to say to the people who are on the fence about leaving my space. Please, I want white people in my space. But I want those who are allies. I want people who are willing to see what truly plagues this planet, the structures of oppression and supremacy that keep so many oppressed. And that is not going to happen by turning a blind eye to these issues. That is not going to happen by being comfortable. Again, if you want astrology, there are so many good astrologers in the world. But if you are following me, it is something that is beyond astrology. It is something that comes for the spiritual heart of the battle for this planet itself. And I see that more and more people are beginning to speak up about this, but perhaps they are not quite as passionate as me. Perhaps they are people who are still figuring out whether or not they are willing to risk everything to do the work that needs to be done. And to be honest, 2020 is a year when more and more people are going to realize that we need to step up and out of our comfort zones to do anything useful. Screw the stars. Seriously, do you know how many times I've helped a person break out of their karmic contracts or their natal chart, irrespective of how terribly aligned the stars were against them? It is because of free will, of the energy of the human spirit, that anything like that is even possible. So do not try to live your lives in confinement and alignment with what someone tells you is possible on the basis of the skies. They are at best a roadmap. They are at best a weather report, but they do not define you. They do not define your soul. They do not define your heart. They do not define your spirit. They do not define your free will, because human free will is so powerful that it can break through anything. So if you do not want someone to see this in you, then do not come to me, because I will see it and I will tell you. Now, as for people who want to project onto me as whatever, toxic, angry, aggressive, blah-dee-da-dee-da, honey bunches, I don't have time for this. All I know is I would never knowingly go out of my way to pejoratively throw some of the kinds of comments that have come my way to anyone or anything else, because that is not the way I roll. What I will give you is truth with a capital T, and if you can accept it, do it. And if you can't, get out of my way and do not waste my time, because I am done fielding all of these fragile people who want me to mollycoddle their egos. When you book a session with me, there is literally a document you need to read that says why I do is not for everyone. What I do is not for everyone. It is absolutely clearly listed there. I am not your surrogate parent. I am not here to make you feel comfortable about life and spirit. That approach has not worked for this planet. So if you want to wake up, and if you all of us want to wake up together, then let's do it. Otherwise, please go to your favorite website and let someone else tell you about how your birth chart is so very special. You're not going to find that with me. Take care. Very many blessings. I hope those of you who remain and stay and who have gotten the message now that the social justice element of this work is the heart of this work. For those of you who have finally gotten the message and are still staying on, please do support my work either through PayPal or by booking a session. And I'll be providing the links below. Take care. Very, very, very many blessings and lots of love to you. Cha-cha for now. Bye-bye.